I've been in the profession for 8 years, and coming into it as a brand new nurse, it was so exciting. And I just thought I was gonna take care of patients, I was gonna be a hero, and it was just gonna be beautiful. And once I stepped into it, I realized it was something completely different. Hi, welcome. This is Sydney Monica. Thank you guys so much for joining another episode. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the notification button so you can get notified every time I post a video. This episode, we're going to be discussing everything you should know before you consider becoming a nurse, whether that's an LPN, a RN, or even a nurse practitioner. So the first thing is, when we see an image of a nurse, we think of wearing nice scrubs, stethoscope around your neck, walking into work with your cup of coffee, having nice conversation with the doctors, having nice conversation with families, and like taking care of patients, and everybody's happy. And if this is the image that you think you're going to walk into the real world, I would say consider talking to people that are actually nurses, that are actually working in the field, that's been doing it for a long time, and get their intake on it. In real life nursing, it can be very, very stressful. It can be very challenging. It can be very overwhelming. And a lot of the nurses, they don't usually stay in nursing for a long time, or they don't even want to work bedside, because working with different type of patients, when it comes to their personalities or the type of patients you're caring for, can be very stressful. Sometimes patients are very nasty, they're very mean to you. Even though you're doing the best job you can, they might not show how appreciative they are. And that also goes for families as well. Sometimes they, instead of making it easy for you and cooperating, they try to make your job really, really hard. So that, along with being a nurse and being in a high demanding role and having like family and patients stressing you out, can make it even worse. And then sometimes, you know, some doctors, they're phenomenal, but some doctors, they can be very nasty and they can be very mean, especially when you're a new nurse, you're learning, you don't know much. If you ask certain questions that they feel like you should know the answer, or that's annoying to them, they can come off as very rude. So that's one thing to know when you're stepping into this role. Like, you're going to be dealing with a whole bunch of different type of people when it comes to doctors, other nurses, managers, different specialties like physical therapists. You gotta be a person that's able to communicate with all types of personalities, because sometimes certain people can make your job really, really hard and stressful. And also, I want to talk about the money. Don't just get into nursing just for the money. Absolutely, nursing can be very lucrative, and you can be very successful working in nursing. But if you're just going to it for the mindset like I'm gonna get into it and make money, that's the wrong mindset. Because honestly, honest to God, we don't get paid enough for the type of work that we do as nurses. And when you're actually a nurse, you'll see what I'm talking about. Or if you know people that's nurses, you might know what I'm talking about. Nurses don't just do their nursing role. Sometimes they have to do the CNA role, or the patient care, the tech role, whatever they call it where you're from. They have to do their role. They have to be the nurse. They have to be the phlebotomist, sometimes take labs. They have to be the janitor. When mess happens, they have to clean. They have to be many different roles that, you know, that's not their main role. But as a nurse, you're like the primary person taking care of the patient. So if anything that's needed, you're going to be most likely the one that they come to ask for help, and you can't really say no to your patients. So I just feel like if you're going into it for the money, the amount of work that we put in and what we get paid is just, it doesn't equivalent. Although it is a good, it is very lucrative, it does pay well. I would say just think about that, you know. I would say just think more about it if that's what you're going into it for. And also, I see a lot of nurses, you know, you work 3 days a week, you work a long shifts, but nurses, sometimes they have to work 2 to 3 jobs. They're working a full-time job, they're working per diem at another job, or they're working full-time because, like I said, it's not as much as people think you make. So, you know, if it's just for the money, I just think you should just reconsider, because you're going to be working overtime, you're going to be working really hard. And honestly, you guys, I'm just being honest with you guys. It's about, you know, not just caring for patients, but it's a lot about politics. It's a lot about money, about insurance. It's a lot that goes into it that kind of like, it changes your mind about why you went into nursing in the first place. So that brings me to my third reason. A lot of nurses get burnt out very quickly working, you know, with patients bedside. And the average time for nurses working bedside could be anywhere from 2 years to 5 years. And I even read a study that said the average time frame that a nurse stays in the profession is about 9 years. And the reason is because, you know, you're just working so hard. Like, in addition to caring for your patients, doing assessments, you have to do a lot of charting on the computer. Everything is moving electronically now. You have to do, everything you do has to be documented, very detail oriented. Like, charting is becoming much more important than actually providing care to patients. And that's what I've been seeing. And honestly, you guys, this can be very challenging to some people that doesn't know how to multitask very well. It can be very difficult for you to have to care for patients, answering call lights, messaging doctors, and then on top of charting everything on the computer. So it's very intense. It's a lot of work. And I would want you guys to consider all that before, you know, joining into a profession such as nursing. And lastly, nursing can be very political, okay? And I say this because when I first came in as a new nurse, I think, you know, just to even get a job, it was about who you knew and not what you knew, not how smart you were, what school you came from. It was all about connections. And even when you made your way to get a job, you know, a lot of the nurses, they play favoritism. Like, if a charge nurse is very cool with some of the staff nurse on the floor, they'll give them better assignments, or they might not give them hard patients. And it's very cliquey, sometimes very gossipy at work. It can be sometimes a toxic environment depending on where you work. A lot of nurses are very, very toxic to each other, and it's just so sad that, you know, you work so hard to get into a profession where you're coming in to take care of patients and to do a good deed, but some people come to work very miserable, very upset about their life, very, very angry, and they come to work taking it out on you. And it's bad enough that you have to work so hard with your patients, and these people, they're just like so nasty to you. So on my first job, I dealt with this one lady, and I'm gonna say her name, and I hope she watches this video. Her name was Sabrina, and she was so angry. This lady was so mean, so nasty. Every day she comes to work, every day she gives report, bad attitude, always like cutting you off, always saying nasty things. It was just very toxic, very, very toxic environment. Come to find out, this lady, you know, she had a son that passed away traumatically. So I guess she had a lot of anger inside of her, but oh my God, it just made it so bad for a lot of us nurses working there. And you know, it's not easy at all to be a nurse and the things that we have to deal with. So, you know, definitely consider these things before stepping into this profession, okay? And I hope that you guys found this video helpful. If you did, go ahead and comment, like, and you can share it to others, spread the message. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.